welcome to the Pop Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Chauncey, aka Team Juice 3000. Pop Talk Podcast is a podcast that exists solely to eradicate fatherlessness. Our mission is to sharpen, to salute, and encourage fathers to do what? To show up, right? To show up for who matters most. Fatherhood is a team sport. It's not a solo sport. And so together we can eradicate fatherlessness. I'm really excited about our guest today. I have a good friend of mine. We go back, like way back to like high school. And so, man, me and this brother, we played football together. We ran the streets of Columbia, Tennessee together, man. I really learned a lot from, and we're going to get into it. I really learned a lot from this brother's father, late great Mr. Wilson. This dude made a huge impact in my city. We're going to get into that as well. But just a little bit about him. He was born in NYC, raised in Philly, and is currently residing in Tennessee. He is a graduate from Middle Tennessee State University, and he graduated with a bachelor's in liberal studies with an emphasis in leadership and administration and an associate's degree from the Community College of the Air Force in hospitality and fitness management. He's currently serving in the U.S. Air Force, Tennessee National Air Guard, and is a member of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Inc., and also is a Prince Hall free and accepted Mason. He's also a loving, that's why we have him on the show. He is a loving father of wonderful children. And so, man, none other than my man, my homeboy, Rashad Wilson. What's up, brother?
What's going on with you, Chauncey? Hey, man, Appreciate the opportunity being on the podcast, man. I feel like I'm in Times Square or something, the billboard,
That's what's up, brother. That's what's up, man. I'm glad to have you on your show, man. I didn't know you was born in NY, man. I thought you was born and raised in Philly.
Man, I was born in New York. Lived up there 10 years and moved to Philly. That's where I spent my adolescent years and really just learned more about myself. And, Pops dug into me a little bit more. But then that was around the time, probably like 92, 93, when he moved to Columbia. And I was still in Philly,
right,
with my cousins and stuff, up there in Northeast Philly, out there in Germantown and also living in Mount Airy. So, just having that street background and stuff, learning and everything.
Yeah. I remember when you relocated to Tennessee, man, when you moved to Tennessee, we was like, man, this brother is not from here. Like everybody we ran with was like either was out of town or was there for Saturn or whatever. Yeah. Saturn, the corporation, the automotive corporation there in the Spring Hill area. But man, I was like, man, this brother's accent is thick. He gotta be from the East Coast somewhere, man. And you reminded us every day that you wasn't from there.
It's funny. I still have some of those characteristics to this day. People still say, "You're not from here, are you?" I can hear your accent, and it's like it's 80 degrees outside. You still wearing Timberlands.
Hey, it's in you, man. It's in you. That's what's up, man. And so I didn't know that you was a Blue Raider. You a Blue Raider, brother?
Yeah, man.
You a Blue Raider? Middle Tennessee, MTSU?
MTSU, man.
That's what's up, brother. That's what's up, man. It's cool. Like, man, it's crazy because it's like we're adults now. We're grown men now, and it's cool to see how my friends and people that I ran with have like evolved into their manhood and how they've matured, and to see the maturation process, and also to see them go out and get their education, man. So that's a salute to you, man. You know what I'm saying? And so you got education of all sorts, man. Freemasonry, you got your college, you got your military, and so, man, we're gonna get into it, man. And so, man, I see you on Instagram, man. I see you on social media, man. I see you with your family. I see you with your kids, and that's dope. And that's what this podcast is about. That's why we got you on, man. And so we just want to kick it off with some questions, man. We're gonna learn from you today. Is that all right?
Hey, I'm good with that, man.
There's some articles and some Facebook and some posts that's floating around, man, of you doing some some type of Arctic cold weather training for the military, man. Tell us about that. What was that all about? And there was some history in the making too. And so what was that about?
So what happened, my commander had reached out to me and another young man. It was like a short suspense, like meaning he called us on late Thursday night, early Friday morning and said, I got a mission and a training I want y'all to go to. And the knowledge y'all get from it, I want y'all to bring it back to us here to be subject matter experts on it, so we could train the whole squadron and stuff on it. So we was like, yeah, we'll go. We didn't even know what it was, So like, we'll go. Opportunity knocks. Sometimes you just gotta walk by faith and not by sight. So we're like, all right, we'll go. And then, like the day before we left, we got the itinerary, and it said winter warfare training, cold weather operations course. We like, what? We started reading everything about it, and we went from tactical skiing to snowshoeing and teaching about hypothermia and identifying cold weather injuries to pulling the Akio sled, which is almost like you're connected to the sled like sled dogs, pulling it through 2 feet of snow and stuff like that. With it And then the some of the pictures that was floating around was like a picture, like a picture of me looking like I'm about to walk into like a black hole. So really, it was a frozen lake, and that was the part where I learned about hypothermia training and trying to control our breathing, so that way we don't go into cardiac arrest and we're able to, stay conscious enough to be able to climb out and then get to some type of shelter or get to some type of dry clothing, so that way we can heat up. So it was pretty intense. The coldest it got out there was
it looked intense.
Yeah, it was about -24 on the regular temperature, but the wind chill made about -38 a few days.
Wow, bro. Man. Man, when you jumped into that hole, that when y'all was on the lake, I saw the video footage that you posted. I saw you was chanting something when you was reciting something over and over again. What was that you were reciting over and over again?
So it was a poem that I learned called Invictus by William Ernest Henley.
Yeah.
And that poem helped me through a lot of times. And what really got me into the poem was, my fraternity, Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And a lot of organizations use that poem to like help guide yourself and help you understand yourself and know you're the master of your fate, not you're the captain of your soul. And you're able to go forth and do anything you can put your mind to. Because that training was mind over matter. A lot of us wanted to quit. We like, man, this is that bull. We don't like, what are we doing out here? I didn't sign up for this. But yeah, I mean, it was literally mind over matter, and God has a plan for everybody. And
he do.
The blessed part about it, come to find out that myself and the young man that I was with, we were the first in our career field in the Air Force to actually complete this course. Because our career field, we don't have that much strenuous military activities like the TACPs and the MPs and security stuff. So this course is like geared towards Rangers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we're actually able to take part in it. And man, those guys helped us out because they knew that we wasn't really fully conditioned like them, but we're conditioned enough to survive in the military. But going up 60, going up like 60-degree inclines where you
that's not stuff y'all do every day.
No, it's not every day. Yeah.
Like
we do. We have our times when we go out in the field, we do our PT tests, and we qualify with firearms and stuff like that. But most of the time,
this is big. This is real big. This is training, because I did, 14 years, 15 years in the Army. And this is training that, special forces and Rangers, and they go through this, Marine recon. This is training that they go through, not just, and so for you guys to go through it, this is major, man. Big pop top salute, man. This is major, ladies and gentlemen. And so
appreciate the service too, man. I always watch the moves and the stuff you was doing, man. Appreciate you a lot.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your service, man. and keeping our country safe, bro. Like, man, this is big. When I was seeing that video, and I was like, man, my boy Rashad is doing it, man. And man, I was showing my son that. I was like, man, just I don't know, man. I've done a lot of different training, types of training, drown proofing and things of that nature. But man, jumping in that lake, bro, that's something different, bro. You got to have something different in you, man. Man, that's pretty dope, bro. That's pretty dope. And so, man, we're talking about fatherhood today, man. What springs into mind when you hear the word father?
Man, when I hear the word father, Jackie Lee Wilson comes to mind, my dad. But just and forgive me if I tear up, you know how I am about my dad.
Yeah, man. He was a good man.
But when it comes down to fatherhood, I think about somebody who's been put on earth by God to be able to lead, mentor, guide, and show that love to their offsprings. We're able to teach, to make the generations better. We have things that we've gone through, but we want to make sure they have an easier path than we have, and also be able to learn from our mistakes. When we young, we like, oh man, y'all act like y'all know it all. But on the flip side of it, it's like, even though it's different times, everybody pretty much goes through the same thing. But
absolutely,
there's different times. So, father, leader, guide, mentor, spiritual advisor, financial advisor, coach, disciplinarian, educator. So those things that come to mind when I think about fathers.
That's dope, bro. Because you say that, man, and the times where I, came to your house when we were back in high school, because I met you towards the end of high school. You came, to Columbia towards the end of your high school career, and so, man, times when I would come over to your house, man, and see your dad. First off, that was an anomaly because a lot of my friends, I think maybe like Joe Brown, I think James, and then Pooh Bear, and then there was some that had their fathers in, but yours was a unique situation where your father was a single parent father. And so, where when I would come over to your house and see your dad there, I was like, man, this dad is active in his life, bro. And like was a stand-up dude too. Like, he was a respected, he was professional, he had character, like he just carried himself different, bro. And so when you say those things about like, man, finances, things that really define a father for you, man. At that age, I saw that in your father, man. And so to see you where you are now, man, that don't surprise me, man, because Mr. Wilson, man, he was the man. In my book, man, he just felt like a dad, bro. Like for real. Like, and this was years ago, man. This is over 25 years ago where we're talking about times when I first encountered your father, man. And so it definitely had an impact on me, man. When I look at the fatherhood landscape in America, man, the numbers are down from 20 million. It's down to 18 million children are fatherless in America, man. The statistics are out there, man. We know the statistics. You're more likely to drop out of school. You're more likely to become an incarcerated youth. You're more likely to become a teen parent. You're more likely to, I think it's 80% of youth suicide attempts happen in fatherless homes. And so, man, this fatherless crisis that we have in America, man, what are your thoughts on it?
Man, it's one is sad and it touches me because knowing the environment that I came from and the impact that it had on me, and also working with the youth, seeing the impact that it has on them, not having a father, it gets pretty depressing, and it makes me want to go out there more and continue to be those mentors. We have programs like Big Brother, Big Sister and stuff like that, where, they out there, trying to be a mentor to them, but it's nothing like somebody being there to say, yo, that's my pops right there. That's my dad, that get that manliness to it. So, it's a void out there that for one, I don't believe it can never be filled, but it can be. The reason why I say it can never be filled, because when we mentor these young men, you know, we are helping fill that void, but we're not able to fill that void because we're not actually there. They're not actually our offspring. So we got to try to work harder and grab hold of them, you know, so that way they don't end up being incarcerated or running the streets and like that. You know, we have to be those father figures to them, even though we're not their fathers. You know, we have to be their father figure. So that's why I say it's something that is fixable, but it's not fixable. But it also depends on the individuals that are in their life. You know, for us being the mentors to them, we have to go in there saying like, "Oh, I know that you're not my offspring, but I'm going to treat you the same. I'm going to treat you fine, and I want you to respect me like I am yours." You know, and sometimes the joy of it, they may slip on and be like, "Oh yeah, that's my pop right there." They're like, "That's your dad?" Oh no, that's my mentor, man. He's like my dad.
He like my dad. Though.
He like but that's really, you know, that's really it. You know, it's sad, you know, like say, you know, coming from the inner city, and then, you know, friends and family that's in that situation, you know, it's like we wanna help them, you know, as much as we can.
Man, you're dead on, man. And there's so many reasons why youth are fatherless. You know, some dads voluntarily choose to leave. Sometimes there's a divorce and a split, and where due to that split, dad becomes less active in that kid's life. And then sometimes it's just through the loss of a father, right? Which is your story. And so, man, just tell us a little bit about that. I believe that your dad was, you know, you were older, and it was later on in life, but nonetheless, it had an impact on you. So I just like for you to just kind of speak to, you know, how did that impact you, man? The loss of a father, bro.
Man, to be honest, even to this day at 7:19 p.m., it still impacts me. You know, because like in the beginning of the question you asked, you know, when the word father comes to mind, what is it? You know, he was my hero overall. You know, everybody look at, you know, Black Panther as the hero, Wakanda forever. My dad's my Iron Man, my Black Panther, my spiritual advisor, teacher, my, you know, he was my everything, man, you know. And it was like when he left, I'm not gonna lie, it was a big void for some years, you know. So I honestly want to say it took me about 5 years before I actually deleted his phone number on my phone. Because it's like every time something happened in my life, like whether it was an accomplishment or I needed some financial advice or something like that, or just some type of advice, period, or just wanted to pick up and hear his voice, you know, it's like he's not there. So you have to figure like how you gonna move on. So like today, people look at my accomplishments and stuff and things that I do. So like my father, he was a member of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated also. He was also in the Air Force, you know, and of course for him being in Murray County, he was a youth service officer. So he worked with kids. So it was like it was the judge, then it was him, there was like the police force and everything like that. So he helped keep a lot of kids in their families and keep a lot of kids out of the system to be on the right path, you know. And he ended up actually winning like youth service officer of the year one time. But it's like when I got into the military, it's like, man, I want to say, Dad, you know, I just took my oath, but it's like I can't talk to you. You know, it's like I can't hear him say, you know what, son, I'm proud of you. Like, why did you take yourself into the cold weather like that, knowing you like me? Do this. Why did you do that? You know, but it's a void that really can't be filled. But what's fulfilling about it is that before he passed away, he was able to meet my son. When my son, yeah. So funny story about that. Not to get off topic, funny story.
No, go ahead.
my son's mother had came to visit me because like her and I we weren't together in a relationship, but we have a great co-parenting relationship to where we call each other to this day and just talk on the phone, just see how you doing and stuff like that.
That's big, man. That's big. Yeah. There's a lot of toxic co-parenting relationships out there, man. So to hear that, that's dope.
Yeah. So what happened? We went to his loft one day, and he didn't know that she was in town. So my son at the time, he was in a car seat. So I left him at the door, and I knocked on the door, and we dipped around the corner. So I opened the door. It was all of a sudden you heard, "Oh shoot, my grandson, man!" And it just gives me chills right now. Just remember,
that is a dope story, bro.
Yeah, so that's one of my fondest memories. But it's like I said, even to this day, there's that void. But it's like I keep striving, knowing that he's proud of me, and he's proud of the stuff that I'm doing, professionally, and most importantly, proud of who I am as a father, given the situation that I have, so that I do know he is proud about, and that helps me day to day. It's hard in the beginning, and I always tell people, you'll never forget, but I always say it does get easier over time. You're gonna have your moments, but it does get easier over time. And
wow,
the proof of that.
And so, man, thanks for sharing, bro. Man, much love to your dad, man.
Sure.
I just we could just see, even when we were teenagers, man, we could just see just his thumbprint on your life, man. How you carried yourself was just totally different. Like you've moved with a certain type of discipline. And, when I look back on it, man, I just know that comes from, Mr. Jackie Wilson, man. So we appreciate you, bro, for just sharing, the impact that's had on you. Man, just, you talked about, the first time your dad met your son, his grandson, and so let's get into that. Like the story of how you became a dad. Was it planned? Was it something that you always wanted to do? Was it unplanned? What was the steps along the way?
So I always knew that I wanted to be a dad, definitely wanted to keep the legacy going, and have a child of my own that I am able to raise and stuff like that. But when it happened, it wasn't something that was planned. A lot of times we end up in a situation where things are unplanned. But like I mentioned earlier, my son's mother and I, we always had a great co-parenting relationship. Right. We talked about everything, and even though he lived in a different location than where I lived, I was always involved in the decision making too. So this was like a desperate emergency, like, oh my God, he fell down the steps, I got to take him to the hospital. Which hospital should I go to? She did that part. Right. Sure. On the way there, she's like, oh my God, Rashad, let me tell you what happened. This, that, and the third. So I'm definitely blessed to have her in my life too. And for her to be the mother that she is, and most importantly, her father and stuff too, man. Like her father, and like I was his own. Even still to this day, he'll just reach out and say, hey, how you doing? Just want to, give you an update. I know you've probably been in training for a while, but here's a few pictures of what your son's doing while he's up here with us, So we're all engaged. Like we're in the same town, but we're at different parts. So, it's I said there wasn't nothing that was planned, but it was planned because God had a plan.
Hey, talk about it, bro. Talk about it.
It's something there to be able to have a testimony behind that.
Yeah, man. That's dope. That's dope. And so, man, when you hear the news that, man, look, hey, Rashad, I'm pregnant, man, I'm gonna have a child, what I'm saying? You're gonna be a father. Like what emotions are you feeling when you're hearing this news?
To be honest, first thing I'm like,
keep it in stack, man.
What you mean you late? Like, you gotta watch. What you know what time it is? Nah, but when I heard the news, it was like, wow. Hey, Dad. Let me tell you what's happening. I
So
feel
you immediately called your father.
I immediately called my father. Like I'm thinking,
that's dope.
I'm thinking I'm about to get in trouble or something like that. But he was like, "You a man. Y'all both of age. Y'all both have decent jobs, and y'all have good education behind y'all." He was like, even though the circumstances are not where y'all possibly wanted it to be, but y'all have to work together. And the same thing her dad was telling me and stuff like that too. But her and I already had the conversation of like, this is this is what's happening right now. So even with us being apart, I was still mature enough to say, hey, whatever decision you decide you want to make, I'm with you 100%. Because a lot of times, in today's society, you have dudes that just like we said, throw on the top, like, nah, you're gonna do this and you're gonna do
right.
that. And nah, like, let's talk about it. Let's see what really works best. Not saying that I'm for the procedures or against the procedures, but you have to think about certain things. Like, how you're gonna be able to raise a kid. The finances play a big part, home and stuff like that. Is it gonna be a good, healthy environment for the child and stuff like that? So, I'm glad we made the best decision to keep moving forth with it. And so that she scheduled all of her appointments ahead of time, so that way I knew. And this was around the time when Southwest had their Ding app, so she was like,
"Oh wow,
when the ding goes off, I'll just go book my ticket. I'll buy like 5 plane tickets at once because they was in Chicago, so I would buy like five round trip tickets at once, which at that time only ended up being like $300 because they had $29.
Oh man, you was getting over.
Yeah, I was getting over. So I'm like, let me get all 5 of these, and my dad hit me to that. So shout out to him. But
and so you were in Tennessee,
yeah,
and your son was in Chicago. You said
Southside Chicago.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That's what's up. And so, man, with that, man, with you being in the military, we know all the moving around that you do with that, going on orders, different things of that nature, man. And, I was in the military as well. And so you see all types of fathers, right? You see engaged fathers, you see distant fathers, you see deadbeat fathers. How difficult was it, especially when you throw in the co-parenting dynamic? How difficult is it to be a good father today?
Man, the thing is, like, you have so many outside influences that can happen. Even looking back at our life, it's like once you leave the house, in the streets, you're away from your family. So you don't know all the time what their friends are involved in or who they're hanging with and stuff. That's where those conversations come in, and that's in the building of trust. But being away, it's technology helps a whole lot now.
Talk about it, bro.
Being able to FaceTime and video chat and talk on the phone and stuff like that. But they need to have know that you're there physically with them too. So you have to be able to make that time to be able to go. And then like when I have to leave for long periods of time, I make sure I spend that time with them. And then, even though they may not understand it, I still sit down and explain to them, even though I'm Iron Man, they think I'm Iron Man type, but I explain to them, what's going on and stuff. And it's challenging, but you have to have the right support system, which is why I truly believe it takes a village.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That village helps a whole lot too.
Absolutely. And so, like, who was some instrumental people in your village, man? You talk about a village. Who was some key players in just being a support for you as just a father and just giving you how-tos and just wisdom and advice? Who was some people that was in your village?
My village, my dad before he passed, my my mother, she has an outstanding story behind her. From where she was from, doing the things that she did. So her father, my son's grandfather on his mom's side, her mom, her brothers, she got towering brothers. They like,
right, uncle.
Yeah, his uncles, and also most importantly, my friends on my side. I have great friends that I've known since high school, even such as yourself.
Right.
When I went to MTSU, we developed a brotherhood, and a lot of them have children now that they're raised, and I'm like their uncle and stuff like that. So we're all part of that one village.
You wasn't doing it alone. You had your team in place.
Had my team in place.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Man, what makes fatherhood like so important? We, especially in today's day and age where, this term toxic masculinity, and it seems like in some spaces, masculinity and maleness is under attack. Fathers are stepping back from the plate as opposed to stepping up to the plate. You stepped up to the plate. You were involved in your son's life. What makes fatherhood important to you personally?
Personally, just the love that I'm able to give my son, knowing that the love I received from my father, it's generational, so it was passed down from his dad to him, from him to me, and now I want to pass it down. Now I want to pass it down to my son, because right now I'm a reflection of my father, even though I'm building my own legacy. And then my son, he's a reflection of myself and his mother while he builds his own legacy. So I feel that part is very important, so that way where he came from to know where they're going.
Right. Man, you talk about that legacy, man. That's important. And that's one of the things that I think about a whole lot when it comes to just fathering. Man, I got a son, and I'm thinking about, man, what kind of 10, he's 7 right now. And I'm like, what kind of 10-year-old do I want? Okay, what do I need to start instilling in him now? And that's part of legacy too. What do I want to hand off to him? It's more than just having, a 401k in place and accounts for college set up for him and everything. It's like, man, what do I want to pass on? And it seems like that's really big to you as far as just the generational thing, who your grandfather was, who your father was, who you hope to be, as a father, and what you want him to become. And so that's powerful when you talk about that legacy.
Even I have a daughter also. Even with my daughter, it's like
So let's go back. How many kids do you have?
I have my son.
Okay. Your daughter. What ages, names?
Oh, so my son Jeremiah, 13. He'll be 13 in September. Yeah, Jeremiah.
Okay.
And my daughter, she just turned 9. Her name is Kai.
Okay. All right. Shout out to Jeremiah and Kai. That's what's up. And your daughter's, her age is what again?
9.
Okay. All right. Cool. So our kids are around the same age. Our kids are somewhere. My daughter, she's about to be 13. She's 12. And then I have a 7-year-old son. Yeah, Kennedy and Gibson. And so, yeah, man, that's dope, man.
When Kennedy doing the daddy-daughter thing. And,
Hey, yeah, man. That's my twin, bro. Like, for real, that's my twin. Her personality is just, oh, man. I'm like, man, it's funny how God does that thing, man. And so, man.
Even when you look at it, social media nowadays has an influence, on what kids see and what they want to do. And, even athletes, public figures, I'll just say public figures, not just athletes, but public figures in general plays a big part in their life too. So it's like, we don't take away things. We monitor what they watch and what they do. And if we see something that they may accidentally stumble across, we'll talk about it. In case I'm gonna use this as an example, not saying it's bad, but like if my daughter runs across a Megan Thee Stallion video or something like that, And,
Hey, you
yeah,
talking about Meg.
yeah. Like,
she a savage.
She's sassy, bougie, ratchet.
Yeah.
But we talk about it. Like, hey, these are certain things that you don't want to do, and here's why, and then her mom is there to instill that into her also, just letting her know, what's up and everything. But most importantly, when it comes to the daughters, of how a man should treat a daughter, and how a man should treat a woman, period.
Right.
Like daughter, I'm opening doors for her, I give her flowers and teddy bears occasionally and stuff like that, just
Absolutely.
Just letting her know that I love her and stuff like that, But
is that hard? Like, I'm a dad that's under the same roof with my children. But for a man like you, desires to be in your children's life, is that hard connecting with finding creative ways to connect with your child?
Well, I would say no. The reason why I say no is because the only way you won't have that connection is if you disengage yourself. So like me, I try to stay engaged. Like if she tells me, like if we're talking and she say, "Oh, Daddy, I'm watching Descendants." Okay, what is Descendants? So I'm looking everything.
Google.
Yeah, Google. What is it? Hey Alexa, what's Descendants or something?
Hey, what's Descendants?
So I learn about Descendants. So we're able to have those conversations and we do little things and stuff like that. Because to share this, and you know how we talk about fathers stepping away and not stepping up. So talk about my daughter Kai. She's not my biological daughter. So her mother and I, we've been friends for years, way back when, and I've been in Kai's life since she was about 3, and unfortunately she is one of those statistics where the dad really isn't around. And
gotcha.
I really can't say really not around. He's not.
He's not around at all.
It's the phone call like, hey, I'll be there, and never show. So me knowing her mom, and then her and I dated a few times. We had a conversation. I said, look, I want to be in her life. I want her to have somebody consistent, and you know how much I love your daughter, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I appreciate that. So we talk about a lot.
That's dope, Rashad. That's dope.
When I say my daughter, she's mine. And funny thing is, and we laugh about this to the day, it's like we both have the same birthmarks. So everybody like, you sure that's not your daughter?
That's weird, Rashad. That's
wild. I'm like, she is, but she ain't. But
But that goes back what you were saying earlier, as far as just like, man. And so that's coming from a real place, as far as like stepping up, being involved, being that surrogate dad, in the absence of fathers, stepping up and being that father where they slip and call you dad. So that firsthand then.
Yeah, it is. Trust me. No, it's no more slipping now. Back in the day, she kind of had to warm up. But now you tell her that I'm not her dad, she ready to cut you.
Man, that's beautiful right there, man.
All baby guitars and hit you,
That's beautiful, man. Man, we got some new dads. I work in the juvenile detention center, man, and I see, teen dads becoming dads for the first time, man. And man, they're just looking for information. They're looking for wisdom. I got a young man in mind right now, man. He was just plowing through books because he wanted to be the dad that his dad was. And his dad was incarcerated. And so, man, for the new fathers who are out there, what advice would you give them? If there was 2 things that you would share with the new father, what would those 2 things be?
Tell them, for one, don't leave the kid's life, and be humble and receptive to knowledge. I'll even add 3, reach out and ask questions, because as a first-time parent, you don't know everything. Our parents' parental skills is different than what it is nowadays. We had, even with technology. So it's like, you have to be humble enough to be able to sit down and say, I don't know what to do. Can you help me? I've had plenty of those conversations with my dad. I'm like, Dad, he stopped crying. Like, what do I do? He'd be like, did you burp him? How you do that? Pick the little dude up. I'm like, well, what do you mean do I do it? I remember the first one, like when he was born in the hospital, I wasn't, thorough enough to be able to change the diaper. So I caught the
it's all thought. He Christianed you. Okay.
Then had a little giggle, but just be humble. Don't leave the child's life. It's gonna be hard times. But as the book says, joy comes in the morning.
Joy comes in the morning, man.
And like I said, just be humble and hats off to the young man for just reading a book and reaching out.
Yeah,
that's what pride to kill you. Pride to kill you.
That's big, man. Just that presence, man. That presence is key, and just humility. I think that's those words to live by, man. Just presence. There's power in presence. A lot of kids they don't know what quality time looks like. Quality time to them is presence. Is showing up and being regular. And having a regular presence in their life, man. So I think that's key, bro. That's major, man. Man, you talk about presence. You talk about having a humility, right? And engaging your kids with the humility. Want to kind of make a shift as far as the responsibilities of a dad, right? We talk about what a good father is, but what are some responsibilities that surround fatherhood? What are some responsibilities for dad, just on a day-to-day basis, a regular basis?
Man, one of the biggest responsibilities is the love and support. That's huge.
That's big, because I thought you was going to say like providing or having some type of monetary support. You kicked it off with the L word. You said love. So talk about that, man. Unpack that a little bit.
Man, love. Let them know that you're there for them through times. Even if they do something wrong, you got to scold them. Still let them know, like, you know what? You did do something wrong, but please understand that mommy and daddy still love you. We just want you to do better and think before you react. I always had those words resonate with my dad and stuff like that. It's like, people going to get in trouble. Kids going to get in trouble. That's a whole learning process. But
absolutely,
and keep scolding them without teaching them and reassuring them that, hey, I'm not being mean to you on purpose. I love you. This is why I'm doing this, and I don't want you to continue to make these mistakes down the line. I want you to learn. So loving them and being present in their life. That's big. And then comes the monetary value, aspects, and also being that teacher, get in the books, see what they're learning and stuff. Because I tell you, that Common Core math, that ain't no joke.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm glad. I'm so glad that I have a wife who math is her thing. And anything math, hey, go to your mama. History and science, you come to me. But math is your mom. But that's big, man. That's key. Just knowing that you love. I know there's a lot of kids that go their entire childhood without hearing dad say, "Son, I love you. Daughter, I love you." And so for you to lead off on that, Rashad, I think that's really big. I hope our listeners really, really pack that up and take that away, that we need to make sure that our children are loved. Go ahead.
I'll tell you something crazy about that. And me and my mom still talk about this to this day. Parents have different ways of showing it. But nowadays, we learn these things about love languages. One of my language was words of affirmation and quality. Okay. So I always, with my dad, I always had that quality time. But the one thing that people didn't know, and this is no shots at my dad by no means. My dad, growing up, he never said, "Son, I'm proud of you. Son, you did a good job." He always expressed it with either a smile on his face or by or by doing something, they're doing like acts of kindness and stuff like that, so it's like now that's their part of teaching, it's like, okay, what did
That's big.
what did I possibly miss in my childhood that I don't want my kids to miss? So not only do I show them that I love them, I also express that verbally to them. So that way they know, hey, I do something good, I may get this. If I do something bad, they're gonna,
Right.
But
What
that's
speaking of that, what are your children's love languages?
Oh man, quality time and
Quality time.
words affirmation. They like hearing that they did good, and they definitely like receiving quality time and gifts.
And gifts. And the gifts don't hurt.
My daughter texted me the other day, like, Dad, can I have these ballerina slippers? And I was at work, so I didn't get a chance to respond back. So her mom texted me, like, let me tell you what your daughter just told me. And I bust out laughing. I was like, what? She was like, your daughter said that she's going to tell you, Dad, you don't have to buy me these ballerina slippers so you can save your money and continue to be wealthy. I was like,
oh, wow. Straight like that, huh?
Like that. And then my daughter texted that to me.
You better speak that.
I was like speaking in position. And it was just funny. It's funny how children think. Like they make good grades and stuff like that. You live in the world, because you want them to know like you proud of them and stuff. So I guess that's why she think Daddy rich.
Hey. And so you talk about that, that your kids, you guys made the decision that the kids were going to stay with mom for the majority of the time, right? And so you guys are in a co-parenting situation. And so after a divorce, or if the relationship doesn't work out, should the children stay with mother or should they stay with father after the breakup or after the separation?
So, that is a tough question. And in my situation, my son stayed with his mother. Not because I didn't want him to stay with me and have that father upbringing. It was just me down here. And with her, she had her mom, her dad, and her brothers. And,
wow.
So it really didn't make sense to pull them from a large village to be down here versus you're there with your village, you can still work. You don't really have to pay for childcare and stuff like that unless we necessarily need to get to that point. It does take a village.
Right.
Even though
you need that support.
Even though my friends and stuff is here, I just can't always heavily rely on them because they have their own life.
Right.
So that's that big piece that I feel as though is missing is communication. Communication is big no matter what type of ship you in, friendship, situational ship, brother, whatever.
Yeah.
That's communication is key. So we talked about that. And
it seems like y'all did. It sounds like y'all really gave some thought to this. It just wasn't, hey, you got the kids and let that be that. It was some thought around this.
Even when it came down to like breaks and stuff, either it was a lot. I had more flexibility to travel. So I was up there in Chicago, either get a hotel room or I stayed in the basement of their house, whatnot. That way I was always around. And then when time was feasible, she would travel here, and we would hang out here. So it wasn't like I would just keep going up there. We actually had that partnership. Even still to this day, we have that partnership. They relocated to Atlanta. So whenever they drive to Chicago, I'm the stop. I'm like stop number one.
Got you. Yeah.
Tennessee without stopping to see Rashad, see your daddy. So they'll stop here. They'll either get a hotel room if she got her kids with them, or I just tell them, hey, y'all can sleep here, or whatever. So most time they always get rooms and stuff, but we have that relationship to where it's like we know it's nothing more than just we're here for the children and stuff, and we still have our friendship. So that communication was the biggest piece, man. The biggest piece.
Yeah.
People take my advice, people. Communication. Nothing from me from this communication.
That's dope, man. That's beautiful that you guys have a strong co-parenting relationship, man. And that you guys were able to navigate through that conversation favorably. And it seems like y'all had the kids in mind, as far as just making sure that they had a village, making sure that they had a support system, making sure that they were around family. And you said something that was key. It was like, man, it's just me down here, and, how is that going to affect the kid, and the kid's well-being? And so, man, that's powerful, man. That's a unique piece. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard language around that where people just say, okay, this is why we chose this route. And so that's dope, man.
Or even like my daughter's mom, even though we live in the same city, we still have that communication going on, where I'll go see her, she'll come see me. And, where I'm heavily involved in decision making and all my kids. And that's that part of communicating.
That's dope.
If you ever feel like there's an empty space that's happening, it's up to both parents to say, hey, what's missing? I didn't hear from you in a few days. You okay? Or me, vice versa. Like, hey, I didn't hear from you in a few days. Everything all right? So again, communication. It's the hardest.
Wow. So just not up front. As far as deciding, where the kid is going to go throughout the co-parenting relationship.
Throughout.
Just having that constant, if not daily, few times a week conversations with the other parent, with your children, just making sure, man, that's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful.
Their well-being is just as important as my well-being, because we're in this together. That's that co-part. And the co-part is we're teammates, regardless of our situations that we're in, we're all teammates. We're all teammates
we all wearing the same jersey.
Same jersey for the common cause.
Yes, man, that's a beautiful analogy, bro. I'm gonna have to take that. You're gonna see that again. I like that.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's dope, man. So, man, as we wrap up, man, and conclude this, man, I like to end the interview with this one question, man, that I like to ask all my guests, man. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self, man. We're gonna hop in the DeLorean, man, with Michael J. Fox, man, and we're gonna go back to when you were 18, man. What would you do anything differently?
To be honest, we can say we would want to do things different. We can always say, man, I would have invested in real estate back then. I would have done this. I would have done that.
I would have invested in Amazon.
Yeah, I invested in Amazon. I would have thought about Amazon,
Yeah.
We can say that, but if we look at where we are today, our paths were set for us to make us who we are today. Would I change anything? Nah, because it molded me to where I am. Like a lot of my friends, they always laugh at me, and they're so humble themselves. I always say they're way ahead of me when it comes to certain things, financially ahead, they up top of corporations and, all types of other stuff. And me, I'm military, but yet I'm making it and stuff like that. They be like, nah, Rashad, you good. Nah, you good. I'm like, nah, like, if I could do things different, I wouldn't, because it molded me to where I am right now. And it's helping me develop to where I'm going to be. Right. And look back and say,
that's good.
Yeah, and I can look back and say, yeah, I made these mistakes, son. This is exactly what I did. Being very transparent and open with them. The good stuff and the bad stuff. And I'm like, but this is why I would not do it again. Help me be able to continue to manifest and be able to pass that down, son. So no, I wouldn't change anything.
What advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Hey, man, 18-year-old self, I look, just invest your money. Invest your money too. Take your time. Don't be in a rush to leave out. Like if you want to stay in the nest a little longer, by all means, go ahead. The be a monster, as we can see even in today's society, with or without uniform. You know,
Hey,
the world is a monster, so
right.
absorb as much as you can. And when you're ready, you're ready.
That's dope, bro. That's dope, man. Man, Rashad Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, where can people contact you and get in touch with you in social media, man?
You could follow me on IG at SHAD_SCO. And, right. Definitely hit me up, questions or anything. Or if you can even ask me, why did you jump in that cold water?
Why did he jump in that cold water, man?
Jump in that cold water, But I mean, I'm always open for healthy communication.
That's what's up, man.
Iron sharpens iron, and most importantly, I appreciate what you do, man. Like when I saw your podcast and everything, I done went back and watched all of them.
Man, blessings, man.
Like seeing you, like you said, from when we was kids, I remember the one thing about you that I always admired was your passion. Your passion, drive. Like I remember, and two things I remember.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
Two things I remember that you was very passionate about, and I'll never forget it. The first passionate part was when you became the governor of Boise State and you met the president. And you came back and we had Chauncey Julius Day.
Wow.
You was here. And that passion you had all the way back then, you was the mayor of high school, man. Like, they had prom in Queens. I'm like, nah, it's you. I remember the pep rallies. You get, wow, my team. I got
those pep rallies was crazy.
You was that guy doing that. Man. And the other passion and the other thing about your passion that I know you had was that day when we went to Red Bank and we lost in the playoffs. First time being in the playoffs in 20 years. We all sat in that locker room and we cried.
Yeah, man.
You went around with your tears trying to pick everybody up. I'll never forget that. You like, look, I know we lost, but we did more than what we thought we would do. And he was like, 20 years, baby, and look where we at. Look where we at. Yeah, I got tears, but we made it.
Man.
And everybody
that was a special season, man. That was a special group, man.
Yeah.
Special group, man. Man, we made history, bro. We kind of kicked off something that would, they would run on and eventually go and get the championship, man. But that's dope. We was the ones that brought football back to Columbia, man.
Yep.
I like to think, at least,
We did, if you think about it.
Yeah. That was some special times, man. I appreciate the kind words, man. Thank you so much for just taking time out your schedule, man.
Thank
man, you're a service member, man. You're a patriot, man. You're a father, man. You're a rough rider. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't get into that, but you're a rough rider, man. Rest in peace to X, man. Man, you're an alpha man. You're an alpha man. I never went to the fraternity route, man, but if I was gonna, I was contemplating doing it, and it was gonna be alpha. It was gonna be alpha for me. The alphas on our yard, man, at Tennessee Tech, man, they was just special, bro. Like they used to scoop me up, man, bring me to, we used to go to cookouts, and they just used to drop wisdom on me a whole lot, man. And then, my best friend, he went alpha. And then, Dr. King was an alpha, it's just this real cool fraternity, man. So, man, we appreciate you dropping by Pop Talk, man, and just sharing and just contributing to the community, the fatherhood community, man. We appreciate your wisdom, man. And we wish you the best in your fatherhood journey, bro. Thanks for coming to Pop Talk, man. We appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, brother. Keep up the good work, man. Peace and blessings.
Will do, man. Grace and peace, man. Peace out, man. So, man, Rashad Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, man. This concludes another episode of Pop Talk, man. Pop Talk, we exist solely to eradicate fathers. We're trying to get fathers to show up. If you found any value in this video, be sure to click the like and subscribe button. Again, I'm Chauncey with the Pop Talk Podcast, reminding you to show up for who matters most. God bless.